Welcome, one and all, to the Revolutionary Wrestling Podcast for our review of Clash of the Champions. I am the devilishly handsome outlaw himself, your king of extreme, the 7-time champ. We will get into that in a moment. I am also, when I'm over on the Dog and Chicken Show, the prince and potentate of the political parlance. And you can also check me out over at KOE Nation on YouTube. But here we are at the Revolutionary Wrestling Podcast. And it has been quite an evening, folks. And I am joined by my indomitable broadcast partner, the one, the only,
Tony fucking G. Like, share, subscribe. Here you are joining us for the post-review and ranking of WWE Clash of Champions 2020. Well, let's just get this out of the way. First and foremost, Phil and I both tied 5-5, I believe, or 6-6. That's neither here nor there.
And the champion's advantage takes it, but there's
something we need to bring up.
In the Andrade Angel versus the Street Profits match. I don't know what it was, but it looked like Angel completely injured himself. He wasn't touching anybody.
No.
He just and it looked like he messed up something on his leg.
He was about to tag in Andrade, and something happened. He lost his balance, and the full weight of his leg hit his ankle or something. We assume maybe an ACL tear. If that's the case, it's going to be bad. But for all intents and purposes, it looked like Garza and Andrade were about to win the titles, and they had to call an audible in the middle right there at the end and give the Street Profits the win because Andrade still kicked out. He didn't even have his shoulder on the mat when the ref counted 3, and Dawkins looked confused as to, how did he kick it? Oh, shit, they rang the bell. They are calling.
It clearly wasn't the plan.
No.
And I think, this was Andrade's night, which in that case, Tony would have called a perfect night.
Yeah.
But now, Tony, I'm, you know me, modesty, but whether by an inch in a mile, a win's a fucking win, motherfucker! Yeah. Ha! 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 Yeah. I'm going to drink that one.
So, that's fine. The fact that
you can
only win on...
King of modesty.
You can only win on hiccups, and you only retain on injuries. So
the prince of politeness. Don't forget.
Clearly,
and the master of modesty.
It's not like I wasn't already half deaf to begin with. Thanks. You really need ham and cheese before you did this.
But this was necessary.
We'll go down
because I think this might be me finally breaking my Sasha Banks-like streak of never being able to actually defend my title. So this
close.
And it took an unfortunate injury and a complete audible being called in the middle of it. But folks, your king of extreme held on to the title. Dreams do come true. This evening, I kept hope alive for all of you, KOE Nation, for all of you, RWP fans, for all of you, America.
Okay, let's talk about the show.
For all of you, people of this world.
All right, first and foremost, as we mentioned on the prediction show before the show started, the Bayley match versus Cross was off for whatever reason. We assume Cross has COVID. We don't know. The women's tag title match was also off, so we didn't preview that either. But Bayley did end up having a match. We'll get into that here shortly. But on the pre-show, Shinsuke Nakamura and Cesaro did successfully retain the SmackDown tag team titles against the Lucha House Party.
The pre-show stopper.
Yeah, that's unfortunate that all that talent got wasted on the pre-show yet again. But here we start out tonight with the triple threat Intercontinental title ladder match. AJ Styles, Sami Zayn, Jeff Hardy. Holy shit. That was a great opener.
Yeah, I was quite which one was that on here?
Right here.
Okay.
Right here. I loved it. I thought it was great. I couldn't believe they opened the show with it. These guys they got a lot bigger window of time than I ever thought they were going to be gifted, and they made the most of it. they did some innovative stuff. We were talking projectile ladders to knock people off.
I like that.
That was a great spot.
We had some deja vu on that. So
it was a great match. And the ending where Sami Zayn goes and gets the handcuffs. He puts the handcuff through Jeff Hardy's earlobe, handcuffs him to a ladder by his ear. Then he somehow manages to handcuff himself to AJ Styles. And as they're all trying to
Roger Rabbit bit on us.
And then as they're climbing, Sammy busts out the key, puts the cuff on the ladder, cuffs AJ to the ladder that they're climbing. Sammy goes up and gets the title he never lost, becoming the undisputed Intercontinental Champion.
I'll admit, I was completely wrong on this one. I thought they were going to keep it on Hardy because he's the bigger star, and we are in these hard times. Oh, yes, Tony, you were close. You were close.
Called it perfect.
Whether by inch or by mile.
Called it perfect.
Your King of Extreme has kept the champion.
I called it 4 stars.
I got a feeling like that's going to be a metaphor for something coming up in world events.
I called it 4 stars because it was a really great ladder match. These guys delivered.
Yeah, I called 375.
Because you were wrong.
It was a great match. Whenever they do stuff with Jeff Hardy's earlobe thing, I generally don't like it because, but it's also like, hey, you're gonna put a giant hole on your body. Don't be surprised if people, do things to it. If you're gonna happen. You're gonna be a quote professional fighter, because that's what a wrestler is. You got these big earlobe things. That's gonna come up eventually. But yeah, it was 375 match. I enjoyed it. It just. I don't know.
You were wrong, so you rated it lower. Fair enough. We'll move on.
Fair.
We'll move on. Asuka defended the Raw Women's title against Zelina Vega, and I gotta say, I want more because this one went a little short. It was quick, but Zelina Vega's actually she's pretty talented in the ring. A lot of people probably don't know that, seeing as she's been mostly a manager in the WWE. So I'm excited to see her get more involved in the ring. She was a great opponent for Asuka here, but it didn't get enough time to really gel. They were starting to do some really good stuff there at the end, but I gave it 3. Asuka got the W, of course, and retained.
I believe we get 275. It was a good match, but it just, like you said, it was kind of they had to fill in the fact that we had an unfortunate injury happen, and so, or who knows what happened that caused. But we'll get there. We have a comment. Little Fettuccine 69 asks, what are you guys drinking? I am actually dipping into a bottle we opened tonight, Glenfiddich Product XX. This is a 20 distiller master blend of scotch, and it is very, very sweet and delicious. I, good sir, am having a Booker's bourbon mixed with root beer. And
it's good straight, too.
Booker's bourbon is good stuff, but it's a hot bourbon. It's going to be very, very, very heavy on the alcohol.
Spicy and a high ABV, but Booker's good stuff. Yes. Whether you mix it or drink it neat.
Yeah, Zelina Vega, she's got a lot of potential.
I've liked Zelina since she was in Impact. And forgive me, I can't remember her name then, but on the Indies, she was Tia Trinidad. She's a bit of a vet. She's a little undersized, but she is a hell of a good worker. I hope they pair the two again soon. Moving along, I believe, was the Lashley and Cruz U.S. title match. And wow.
That was amazing, wasn't it?
I'm going to say
like basic spots.
I'm going to say it again. Apollo Crews has a ton of athleticism, and Bobby Lashley's a monster, and Apollo Crews has no fucking personality, and Bobby Lashley's still as green as the day he started wrestling.
Here's Apollo Crews' personality he's been allowed to express. That's it. Now, here's the problem.
Yeah. 2.5, Lashley retained.
If he was in, I gave it, I believe, was 2?
2.
Yeah. Now, here's the thing. If Apollo Crews was in just about any other company, they would be centering the company around him. The guy does gorilla press immediately followed by a standing moonsault. He can do standing shooting star presses. The guy can do all the impressive things that come with professional wrestling. They just need to put a good mouthpiece on him. And again, but now in WWE, he's just going to be this.
Pretty much.
But
you gave it 2?
Yeah. It was what it was. And Bobby did miss a couple of different highlights.
As he always does. Another comment from Little Fettuccine. How much is each bottle? Phil, go ahead. Booker's.
Booker's bourbon is a very hot bourbon, and if you can find it, it's usually about $70. Now it is, I will just look it up, 60% ABV, which is 128 proof. So it's a hot bourbon. But like I said, if you mix it with one of your favorite sweet sodas, it just that extra little heat gives it a bit of kick, but it works. Now, Tony.
This one here, I actually got this Glenfiddich Project XX at a steal for $50. You could pay upwards of $75 to even $100 if it's becoming a scarce product. So if you see it for $50 to $60 and you like Scotch, snag this bad boy up while you still can. And if you do like hearing about liquor reviews, little plug for one, Mr. KOE over here.
Head on over to KOE Nation on YouTube. Like, share, subscribe, where I do all of my liquor reviews of very high-end alcohols and more common spirits as well. But yes, we do all kinds of spirits over there. We mostly emphasize whiskey. Tony and I are both lovers of Scotch, but as of late, I've been on a bourbon kick.
And I like my Irish.
Yes, he's also a lover of Irish whiskey, and we're both kind of gently dip our toes to Japanese whiskey once in a great while when it presents itself for a reasonable price.
When the reason arises.
Not been lately. So
there's no such thing.
Yeah.
No. So let's talk about, I believe, let's get into the elephant in the room, the Raw Tag Team title match between Street Profits being the champs and Andrade and Garza. Oof. They actually had a really nice match going here. Oh my God, Montez Ford, the guy,
strap a rocket to
the
him,
guy's amazing.
Make him the WWE or Universal Champion within 3 years. That guy's going places.
He's got a bit of a silly gimmick shtick going on right now, but
he's still making it work.
Athletic-wise, this guy is insanely gifted, and he owns the ring. Like, you don't even know the other guys are in there. He completely overshadows Dawkins. But Garza and Andrade themselves are very, very good in the ring. But you don't even notice them because of how good Montez Ford is. All that being said, this was supposed to be Garza and Andrade's night. And you could feel it.
Supposedly.
Whether it was or not, what happened is completely unfortunate because I really like both guys. I think they both have a ton of potential. I would love to see them continue as a tag team.
By inch or by mile.
But
look at it. It's beautiful.
It comes at the very end there. You could tell the ending was supposed to go completely different, whether or not they were supposed to retain or not. The ending got smudged up because of legitimate injury.
Yeah, Angel Garza got something messed up. We'll find out. I'm sure.
Hopefully not an ACL.
Yeah, we'll I'll try and keep folks posted on that. We'll know more in the future, but unfortunately, that might be the future for him. But yes, the Street Profits keep the championship, as do I, your King of Extreme. Now, I'm going to say this. We actually made this comparison when we were watching. Now, it's not just in the fact that they have similar physical features. They're both very tall. They're both very lanky. They're both very skinny.
Yeah.
But also in the fact that I draw a lot of comparisons between Montez Ford and MMA's John Jones in the fact that they have
athletically gifted in this crazy way.
Unbelievable athleticism that allows them to transcend things that they should normally be able to do.
I said they're both heavyweights that look like a light heavyweight, but
they fly like
they move like a cruiserweight. Yeah, exactly.
It's ridiculous. John Jones moves like he's 155 pounds, yet swinging with heavyweight power. And Montez Ford is this interesting parallel to that in the pro wrestling world.
Just that.
That kid's going places.
Well, Montez Ford emotes, and he's got his facials down,
yes.
And he brings a certain energy to his match.
I was going to say, and that was the other thing I said, and you heard it here first. At some point, Montez Ford will actually be the Hollywood breakout from WWE. That guy could actually make it in Hollywood.
You did have a good idea for him to play a prequel character.
Yes, he could do prequels and because the main character who played Black Panther died.
Yes.
And he could, at the very least, he could be a stunt double. I
think you're on something with a prequel. I think that'd be great.
Oh God,
he's got actor written all over him, but
he could be an actor. He's amazingly gifted. This guy's going places. strap a rocket to him. If you made this guy a superstar, I mean, my God, I mean, heads of state would know who this guy is. I mean, strap a rocket to him. The sky's the limit for this kid. Montez Ford, we got our eyes on you.
Yeah, I'm a fan, even if it is a little silly what you're doing right now. But you are a champion. You are still 208 days going strong, which is actually pretty impressive in WWE's lackluster tag division. I gave it 3.25. It could have gone much higher had things not gotten flubbed at the end.
Yeah,
And
I gave 3.25. Good match, but I wonder what would have happened if we would have actually got the finish. Would we have gone to 3.5, 3.75?
It's hard to say.
Now, depending on who would have won.
You would have gone much lower if it would have gone my way. Anywho, moving down the line, as we mentioned before, the Bayley-Nikki Cross match got completely called off. Bayley comes out with the chair doing a promo shtick, and then all of a sudden, here comes Asuka. Again, we have an impromptu Asuka match. Oh,
I did like that.
Second.
Like, Asuka, I got to give you credit. You're just down for anything. Whenever
Asuka's a trooper. She's a soldier on the front line for WWE.
Yeah, she's deserving every bit of push she gets.
Before we go into that quickly, we do have another question from Little Fettuccini. How long do you give the Street Profits till they break up? I think that's interesting because Phil kind of compared them similarly to the New Day in terms of marketability and their face tag team champions.
They're slightly silly.
They're marketable. It'd be crazy to break them up right now while they're champions.
Montez Ford is way more marketable than Angelo Dawkins.
Oh, hands down. I think there's definitely money to be made there with them as a tag team, but we're fans of his as a solo artist. So I think I would be surprised if they break up anytime before 2021.
I would say
22, excuse me, because we're almost at 21.
That one would kind of depend on how long until crowds come back. If the crowds come back fairly soon, I could see them drawing that out a little bit and then doing the breakup. If it's going to be a long time till we get the crowds back, I could see them doing a tag team breakup angle between the two of them as just something to kind of keep a holding pattern until they get the crowds back.
Yeah, so, I think you'll start seeing it teased within the next year. I don't think they'll do it. I think they'll long play this one. And eventually when they've gotten sufficient heat behind the idea of them breaking up, I think Montez will probably be the face in that.
No. What?
Yeah.
The most marketable guy that the company's going to have in a few years is going to be the face? Nah.
But, yes, Bayley versus Asuka, impromptu SmackDown Women's title match. It was quick. It was hard-hitting because these two were familiar with each other. They have a good chemistry. You knew this wasn't going to a legitimate finish because Asuka needs to stay strong and Bayley needs to stay champion. Lo and behold, about a tenth of a second before it happened, here comes the chair shot. Bayley gets disqualified. Asuka wins. Bayley retains, and then I'm like,
Tony calls every major swerve. It's gonna
be a while. Here comes the Sasha run in, and then literally slap the chair. And Sasha beats up Bayley. Bayley gets control, but at the end, Sasha stood tall.
That is why it's so hard for me to retain my championship at WWE events against Tony G because he's been watching WWE since he was 5. He knows the product. Like he's got to.
Oh, that's not fair. Even when I would venture over, I remember watching a Halloween Havoc at my dad's house because he was a WCW fan.
Not exactly the best.
Maybe it wasn't, but
intro.
I digress.
Any Halloween Havoc.
The Steiners just won their tag team match, and Scott was standing over top of Rick, and I'm like, well, he's clearly about to turn on his partner, and I knew who the Steiners were. And my dad goes, what the fuck do you know? And literally, bam! And he goes, how the fuck did you know that was going to happen? I'm like, how do you not see this? But I digress. I'm a genius. It's fine. Little Fettuccini does have another question about the Street Profits. Will Bianca Belair be a factor in the breakup? They do love adding in the real life relationships with people into the storylines to give it that authentic, real factor. If she remains on the main roster, which we would assume she is because she's very talented and she has a ton of potential, I could see it. I hope they don't go the route of, a love triangle because they love doing it.
Oh, I was about to say, we've never seen those before in wrestling.
Seen that happen.
What, a love triangle? Now, here's the problem. Montez Ford is tremendously marketable. Having his real-life wife do some weird love triangle angle, as we have seen with now Miro. And as we've seen before multiple times, it does affect your marketability. Not every single love triangle angle is going to be the mega powers collide. I know
nothing has ever replicated that.
I know.
Maybe Matt Hardy and Edge and Lita. Maybe.
Well, that was real.
Because that was real.
That was how they actually, there was actual infidelity there.
They legit.
Yet everyone was willing to be adult enough to make some money over it.
This would be a missed opportunity.
I can respect all three of them. There was a pretty awkward thing going on, but all three of them were adult enough to, hey, let's make some cash. So I can respect that. But
so Bayley and Asuka, we gave it 2 stars each because it went quick. It was a DQ finish. But the big story here is we assume, we hope, we plead. If you're listening, oh my God, make the Hell in a Cell main event. Bayley, Sasha Banks with SmackDown Women's Championship. This is what you need to do. Listen to me. Listen to me. This is a rare moment because last year at Hell in a Cell, this is the response that I gave you after the show ended. Are you fucking kidding me? Do not ruin this event for the 3rd straight year by having a dumb-ass, ridiculous Hell in a Cell match finish the show. You did it with Lesnar running in on Strowman and Reigns. You did it again with The Fiend and Seth Rollins. You have been building the Sasha Banks-Bayley feud ever since they both got on the main roster. You've been teasing this, building it, putting it back together. It's finally here. You finally pulled the trigger on this. You finally have Hell in a Cell coming up. Give us Sasha Banks versus Bayley, Hell in a Cell, SmackDown Women's Championship in the main event, and let there be a clean finish. A real, honest to goodness, 1, 2, 3, tap out, whatever finish, without running, without schmoz, without disqualification.
What?
Just end the match as it's supposed to because it's a fucking Hell in a Cell match.
Now, here at the Revolutionary Wrestling Podcast, the Hell in a Cell main event holds a unique record. Every year we award the Wrestle Shit of the Year. And
2 years strong now.
2 years strong. And by the way, I gave the Bayley match 2 stars.
Yeah.
But 2 years strong now.
We both did.
Hell in a Cell main event has won the Wrestle Shit of the Year award at the Revolutionary Wrestling Podcast. Now,
and that even includes...
I don't know. I got a feeling that this Undertaker-like streak will continue, Tony. I don't know how, and I don't know why, but I just got a feeling.
Here's what I see.
That in our year in review, we'll be talking about Hell in a Cell.
Here's what I see. Hell in a Cell opens with Sasha and Bayley in Hell in a Cell, and then Hell in a Cell ends with, I don't know who. U.S. title match: Bobby Lashley versus fucking R-Truth. Because that's the level of input they put in Hell in a Cell. What was once a great match has become a novelty, and it's bad. And we have a comment from Amanda who says, wrestling is fake.
What? No, what? You rapscallion ne'er-do-well, I don't know what to say to you. I mean, what is fake about...
Hey, Amanda,
this championship?
Did you know Game of Thrones is fake too? But you still watch that.
God damn,
I don't know. I'm just glad she can figure out how to run a computer. Good for her. Anywho, moving along. Right. Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton, WWE World Title Ambulance match.
People helped Drew.
Okay, so. Oh man!
I'll give credit. This is a great way to rub a bunch of nostalgia all over the Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton. Like, hey everybody, look, it's Big Show.
Okay.
And Shawn Michaels.
So instead of letting
a bunch of people,
Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre have like another great match, we added the ambulance stipulation, which is basically a glorified casket match, and instead of making your world champion look strong, winning outright, looking strong, retaining
he did kick it
by no help whatsoever, we had the Big Show come out within 5 minutes, grabbed Randy Orton, and choke slammed him through a table. Okay, fine. Then then we did some more stuff, and we went to the back, and then we had Christian attack Randy Orton in catering.
Christian! And yes, he ran Randy Orton over the table in a tribute montage to the Stadium Stampede match.
Yep.
Because that one pretty much changed the landscape.
Yep.
But
so thanks, Christian, for your Then we had
no, it's a bunch of new people.
Then we had Shawn Michaels appear on the top of the ambulance after Randy Orton knocked Drew off, and he super kicks Randy Orton off the ambulance. So okay, great.
I'd give you a super kick, but it'd reveal the fact that I'm wearing shorts. So I don't.
So then finally Randy Orton gets put in the ambulance, and they're just we're being trolled in the comments by people we know. Sorry, folks. Yeah, no. You didn't watch the show. Go.
I was about to say, if you haven't seen but you care. You're here. You are here to see your King of Extreme, who retained his championship fair and square down the line with my perfect predicting abilities.
So Shawn Michaels super kicks Randy Orton off the ambulance. Drew McIntyre finally gets him in the ambulance, goes, no, not enough. He pulls him out, then he gives him a kick to the head. Then he puts him in the ambulance. And then he wins the match. And then Ric Flair, without a door on the side and a windshield he can see through, Ric Flair drives the ambulance away. So it took the aid of 4 people for the world champion to retain his title. This was shit booking. I was very disappointed. I gave it 2 stars because it was so convoluted and stupid.
It did start to kind of just plot along, a lot like the Edge Randy Orton match at WrestleMania, which I liked. But this one did kind of like, okay, does this ever end?
No.
Like, I did start to get at that point.
Well, it just made your world champion look like shit.
Yeah, because he needed
help from everybody. That's what's stupid.
The stars of yesteryear. Yeah. Which I do like the way that they use that to kind of like give this
nostalgia. I needed Drew McIntyre to look like a badass.
Wrestling fans,
and he looked like shit because he needed help to win. So I didn't like it. 2 stars.
All right, now the main event.
No. First, before we move on, Byron Saxton had a great line in the middle of this. Drew McIntyre gives Randy Orton a big headbutt, and Randy Orton drools. Byron Saxton, I believe it was, says, he's leaking and not in the way I'm used to.
I just had to ignore that to go on with the show and enjoy it.
It's unfortunate because we had a couple of really great matches, and that would include the main event, the Universal title match of the evening, Roman Reigns defending the Universal title against his cousin, Jey Uso.
We will get to that here in a little bit. Oh, yes,
we will get to that here shortly.
Okay, the main event, Roman Reigns. Jey Uso.
Yes. I didn't expect this to be as good as it was.
I think it was just going to be a straight-up squash.
I did too.
And they actually led us to believe, holy shit, is Jey actually going to do it? And the kick-out by Roman Reigns was amazing, where he got a low blow in the kick-out. I was jealous of it.
What? Okay. Anywho. Yes. The match, like we said on the pre-show, these guys have been putting together a match between the 2 of them for probably 15, 20 years.
Yeah, they're cousins.
They know each other.
They played football together when they were in Pee Wee football. They've known each other.
Jey starts hitting super kicks, big splashes, you know he's not going to win, but damn it, they were trying to make you think he had a fraction of a chance. And then, like you said, it was beautiful. We had to back it up and watch it again. As he's kicking out at 2.5, Roman Reigns gets the big low blow to Uso. When he's kicking out, the ref doesn't see it. And from there, Roman Reigns solidifies the heel turn he's been dying for 2.5 years and just absolutely obliterates his own cousin, his own flesh and blood, beating and piss pounding him and saying, "Come on, say I'm the best. Say I'm the best." No, I'm not gonna do it. And his own brother Jimmy comes out, wants to throw in the towel. Come on, come in and tell me I'm the best.
Throw it in.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Oh, this
Come
went
on, acknowledge me as the chief.
It went on for like 5 minutes, and it was beautiful. You could tell this is all Paul Heyman's influence. It was beautiful. Finally, Jimmy throws in the towel. Paul comes in with the tribal wreath and crowns him the family. It was amazing. The match was high hitting. It was great. It was way more than I ever expected. Roman Reigns retains, as I did expect. 4 stars. I couldn't believe it was good.
Much like me, I retained as well. So Roman, I understand heavy hangs the head that wears a crown. I get it. So
and yes, like you said, little fettuccine. No vest Roman. That shocked me at the beginning. If you're going to turn heel, you've got to change your look. And he changed the look.
He's got new teeth and a new set of abs to go with him.
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I love the finish. I'm more invested in Roman Reigns as a heel now. I think I didn't agree with it at first, but this was the perfect singles match to solidify him as a true heel. Love to see where they go with him now, especially considering the draft is coming up. But that was the Clash of Champions, and let's get into this.
The fantasy top 5. We were actually just saying this during the show, and I'm just gonna. The number 1 person that needs to go from SmackDown to Raw just to get away from the Fiend is Braun Strowman. He needs to be traded.
Yeah, and they did tease that with Braun doing the whole Raw Underground thing, and he buried the one guy they've been pushing on that thing, Dabba-Kato. So I don't know. I don't know if that's going to be much more long for this world Raw as it gets.
Underground.
But
there's been talk of a Raw Underground title, and I'm like, Tony, thank God they don't have enough championships in WWE.
Oh yeah, we need another fucking belt. Let's make that happen.
At least.
So
let's at least look good.
Let's talk about this, because obviously we're assuming that the world title and the universal title, they said every superstar. So we would assume that they will be included in the draft. Will the universal and world stay on Raw and SmackDown?
Maybe. I could see the United States Intercontinental doing a swap.
I think you're right. I think Roman Reigns will be staying on SmackDown, so that would mean that Drew McIntyre will stay on Raw.
Now, here's one that you could get convoluted and get confusing. You swap the tag team champions. So now on Raw, we will be defending the SmackDown tag team champions.
Now I'm drinking Redneck Riviera. It's only $20 a bottle. Pick it up at Walmart right now. It's a great value buy.
Yeah, it's a very good value bottle.
Okay, I'm going to assume that they're going to probably say at least the 1 or 2 picks right out of the gate are going to be the Universal and World Champion. You would assume that's going to happen. So we'll get that out of the way, leaving about 4 spots. Like you said, I expect SmackDown to get the U.S. title. Mm-hmm. I expect Raw to pick up the Intercontinental. We can see a swap there. So Sami Zayn moves over to Raw and
breaks up the Hurt Business.
Actually, no. That does make things interesting, because does the Hurt Business move over to SmackDown? Do you think the whole stable will? I could see it, because the way they've kind of gone as far as they can on Raw. Well, with Retribution being a Raw stable now, I could see them moving the Hurt Business over to SmackDown. So actually, I'm gonna say that. I think they do that. I like that. Yeah. I think the tag titles stay where they are.
They kind of have to.
Well,
yeah, you can't do here on SmackDown, we're gonna have the Raw Tag Team Championships defended by Raw Tag Team Champions here on SmackDown.
Although
it's too convoluted.
I would say I could see Shayna Baszler moving over to SmackDown, which would bring Nia Jax with her, because she is a more sports-oriented character because of her MMA background, and that's what Fox wants. So I could see that happening. Other than that, I could see Asuka moving over to SmackDown, and I could see Bayley and Sasha moving over to Raw. If the Fiend ends up on Raw, you would assume that Alexa Bliss would also end up on Raw, because they're going somewhere with that. But other than that, Seth Rollins and Rey Mysterio, that feud's coming to an end, we would assume, before the draft happens.
Really?
God, we hope. So I would assume probably Seth staying on Raw, Rey moving to SmackDown. Other than that, there's just not a lot that really stands out to me to big moves. Maybe AJ goes back to Raw. He's probably done with the Intercontinental title.
Yeah, what else is he going to do on SmackDown?
Well, that's just it. Not much.
Like, I was about to say,
he's done what he can do.
Feud with Roman. I don't think.
Man, honestly, I'd love that, but we got that when
he's not exactly a babyface right now, is he?
No, well, they could easily turn him back into one. I'd be fine with that.
He would be a great opponent for Drew, though, so I could see him going to Raw.
Little Fettuccini says Roman, Undisputed Era, Street Profits. Oh, excuse me, Io Shirai, Street Profits, and Johnny Gargano. You know, God, that's
Johnny Wrestling would be a good one.
No, you know what? He's right, though. I think Undisputed Era is probably getting called up to the main roster during this draft. I think that's probably your biggest get because they've done what they can do on NXT and they've kind of phased them out as being the bad guys.
You put them on SmackDown or Raw?
If you move the Hurt Business over to SmackDown, Undisputed Era, it clearly ends up on Monday Night Raw. And they've got an easy feud with Retribution, who are all former NXT
I was about to say, so some pretty easy folk for Retribution to squash and get over and make themselves, the Undisputed Era to squash and get over and make themselves more marketable. So you can expect them to lose to Retribution in the debut match.
I think Io Shirai is probably going to end up staying in NXT because I just don't see it. I think if they move her up,
it's a little soon for her.
I think it's a little soon. She's still the champ. I'm hoping they keep the belt on her for a while. That's why I'm hoping they don't move her up yet. But yeah, I think you're right.
Because you know how well they did with Keith Lee's call up.
Fantasy booked the next woman member for the Hurt Business. I think Naomi. She's not doing anything. And yeah, I think she makes most sense.
I could see that. That's a tough one.
I'd say like Nia Jax, but she's got some other stuff going on.
Yeah, she's busy.
They have ideas for her. Like they have a plan. Maybe like a Tamina, I could see somebody that they're not using.
Yeah, I don't know that.
But you would expect that they would eventually add a female because I see that as being a roster that they're going to expand upon.
Yeah,
actually, I'm shocked that Apollo Crews hasn't joined yet. Now that he's not going to be U.S. champion, now I can see him turning and joining. Ricochet, I think, is leaving.
You think he's going to leave the company?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been used so well.
Oh, yeah.
Remember his big angle this year was getting kicked in the nuts by Lesnar?
Anywho.
Yeah, that was.
I'll be honest. I'm not completely stoked for another draft. I feel like I finally just got used to seeing some of these people on their respective shows. We finally got some call-ups, and I didn't even love the idea of Keith Lee being called up, but here we are. Keith Lee's probably going to move to SmackDown. I think that's going to be a big one there.
I thought I was going to like the idea of Keith Lee getting called up to the main roster, and then
Keith Lee's probably going to get drafted by SmackDown within the first 3 rounds. There's a big prediction.
Please, just do something else with him.
I'm ready for a fresh start, but I'm surprised they're about to do this before Survivor Series.
Well, he did so well last year's Survivor Series. Let's see.
Yeah, but it's all about the brand warfare, and you're going to shake things up right before the brand warfare. I don't know. I think it's bad timing.
I do remember it was very unusual when Shane McMahon did his invasion of Raw with SmackDown, and everybody was like, the New Day was like, "Come on, SmackDown!" And you were on Raw like
6 months ago?
No, at that point it was like 6 weeks ago. Like you were just on Raw. Like
you gotta suspend disbelief even more for Survivor Series in the last few years. Just because you're like, oh yeah, I could totally see Dolph Ziggler wearing the same shirt as the guy he's feuding with. Yeah, because it's Survivor Series.
But the amazingness of the matches usually make up for it. Like the Survivor Series match is usually one of the best matches of the year. It's usually like top 10 to 15 match of the year. Like even last year's was amazing. I don't know how they're going to get anywhere close. I keep saying, as it stands right now, I don't care what anybody says. Match of the year right now, as it stands 2020, is the 2020 Royal Rumble match, Fight Me.
We'll get to that in December.
We're not quite there yet.
We're not fighting yet. And I was there to see it too with you. And
we were there live. It was amazing. 60,000 people. Ah! The minute Drew McIntyre kicked Brock Lesnar over the top, I started the chant.
We lost
Na
it.
na na na. Na 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 na.
He legitimately started that. Go back, watch the Royal Rumble. When they start singing that, this guy started that chant.
And when I was singing that, I realized I'd started that chant. I was like, wow. That was my Kanye West moment. No one man should have all this power. Like, yeah, that was
60,000 plus sing. It was amazing. But yes, little fettuccine. New gear for Chief Roman. I don't think he's going to keep up with the Samoan Ree.
I think that was just for tonight amongst them.
That, like you said, that's a picture for his desk. I don't think.
Yeah, that's going to be in his office.
Oh, excuse me.
That's going to be in Roman's office for decades to come, is him wearing the Chief wreath, holding the Universal Championship up high, his cousin in the ring with him. That's going to be a photo that's going to be in the office of Roman Reigns.
Yeah, I think as far as gear goes, you're going to continue seeing him without the vest. He'll be shirtless. I would expect to see him still wearing long pants, because if he wears the short shorts like he did in Florida Championship Wrestling, it's just going to remind people of that. So I would expect maybe
what was his name back then?
I don't. God,
I can't even.
Good.
Yeah, it was not good. It wasn't
good.
marketable, but
No.
yeah, it was.
I would expect some long pants that are kind of dressed up to fit his new persona, but I would say no more chest protector a la D'Lo Brown. Other than that, he will get new music. That's been teased already. He will be getting new music. Everybody wants to forget about the Shield at this point.
I was about to say,
that's not happening again.
Man, I don't know how Roman managed to keep all the Shield stuff in the divorce, but yeah, he got the entrance music, he got the gear, he got everything. But yeah, it's time. They should have changed it a week or two ago. They should have changed it tonight.
Like 2 years ago.
No, for his heel turn.
Well, they started. It's a slow process with Roman Reigns, as we figured out. It took this long to turn him heel, so don't expect it to change in one night.
Yeah, they did kind of do that 5 years too late, didn't they? But it's awesome now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All that being said, though, if you have any more comments before we call this one a night, let us know. But the next event coming up is Hell in a Cell, and as we mentioned a couple minutes ago, Hell in a Cell is historically one of the fucking worst shows of the year. So, not super jazzed. We'll see what they do on the next shows. But predictions for tomorrow night's Raw.
My prediction, much like last month, you're going to see Drew McIntyre come out and give a heartfelt promo in front of Pixels about how much being the WWE champion means to him and how much he's dedicating to all of you out of the WWE universe. Aren't we starting? No, it's in October when they start the draft.
Yep.
I think they're going to start teasing it and start like they're going to act like they're going to start acting like the NFL draft is coming up, folks.
So we've got Hell in a Cell coming in the end of October. We know that Drew McIntyre has a title defense coming up. We're assuming that Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre has been closed. So
God, you can only hope.
Who will be slipping into that role next? Because he's actually run through a gauntlet of heels thus far, defending the title. So who do you think is up next?
I think it is the phenomenal AJ Styles. Who else has been able to get great matches out of people and put people over than AJ? He's going to get drafted. He's going over to Raw, and at Hell in a Cell, it's not going to be in Hell in a Cell.
No, it doesn't need to be. That's for feud blow-offs, not as a novelty. Damn it, get it right.
Or for main events where you book yourself into a corner and then just make it worse. So we'll
see how that goes. We've got a couple of weeks before the draft, though. What's Drew McIntyre to do before Hell in a Cell? So I don't think his next feud will be AJ Styles. I could see them getting a week out of Keith Lee. They've been teasing that, but will they put Keith Lee in that role to lose this early? I can see them doing it. I don't want to see it.
Keith Lee got his one main roster win that he's and now
actually
as an NXT call-up, he's got his one win.
You're going to hate me for this.
Oh, no.
I could see Keith Lee being the Mark Henry to the Hurt Business that he was to the Nation Dominated. I could see Keith Lee being the Mark Henry of the Hurt Business.
Oh, man.
I don't love it, but I can see it.
He deposes Bobby Lashley as the alpha because he could do it.
Every match for Hell in a Cell should take place inside the cell. That's the TNA lockdown strategy, which I didn't hate when I was a fan of TNA, but it did dilute the match. And they've already diluted the match enough by destroying the rules, making more than one a year, having two on the same card, and having disqualifications and no contests. And if you have the right build up and the right rivalries and the right matches, you could do a full card of Hell in a Cell matches. But only doing a card of Hell in a Cell match for the sake of doing it.
5 matches tops.
You can only do 5.
Yeah, no.
And it would still be too much.
Yeah.
Especially now that they're using the red cell.
Yeah, that was.
Now, I will say the
tag team Hell in a Cell match with the New Day and the Usos is one of the finest bits of tag team wrestling I've ever seen.
That was marvelous.
Yeah, that was.
You wondered how they were going to do it, and those guys actually found a way to do something different in their feud, which was unheard of.
And I remember
they found a new way to use the cell, and I loved that.
One WCW Uncensored did that, where the cage just was set up and it just stayed there, and it was kind of neat, and I liked it. But at the same time, it was kind of weird. That,
by the main event, you're burned out.
Well, not necessarily that, but it's like, okay, it wasn't necessarily these two people, but it was just like these level of people. Like, okay, Kaz Hayashi and Ernest the Cat Miller are having a cage match here at Uncensored. Or like, now I got to give credit. Hogan, when I was a kid, had me sold on the idea that him and Ric Flair, this cage match they were going to have at Uncensored, was the last time ever. This was going to be the one to settle it all. I was like, well, if this is the last time they're ever going to wrestle, and this is going to be the one to settle it, I really got to see this one. And what do you know?
The fact that you bought that.
Hulk Hogan cuts a hell of a promo, Tony. Okay? That guy cuts one fuck of a promo. Don't act like he never promoted you into buying a pay-per-view.
Little fettuccine, Roman versus Jimmy or Jay in a Hell in a Cell match. You know, I gotta say, I don't know where they're gonna go with Roman Reigns just yet. I'm expecting them not to fast forward him back into a feud with the Fiend. So maybe they do
keep this thing going.
Keep it with Jimmy this time.
Rikishi's still alive, isn't he?
Yes.
Roman beats up Rikishi. It's that easy.
Ooga Booga says you look like King. Yeah, well, you know. No, Mayor King. Yeah, absolutely you do.
You know, sir, flattery will get you nowhere. I mean, Kane was one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. In his debut in '97, I thought Kane was the coolest thing in the entire universe.
People say that Chris Jericho had the greatest debut.
Not even close. It's Kane, and it's not even close.
Even if Chris Jericho has the second best. Oh.
Fiend is second. Jericho is third. Okay.
Even if Jericho was second, it's a distant second because Kane had hands down the best debut.
Yes, I mean he came in on the Undertaker storyline.
Everybody trying to say that it was Jericho needs to remember that 2-3 minutes into Jericho's debut, he got absolutely buried by The Rock on the microphone. Guess what didn't happen when Kane debuted? He didn't get made to look like a jackass.
By anybody.
It took another 10 years, but not immediately.
I'll never forget, the next, I think it was a week or two afterwards on Raw.
God, that's a tough.
Favorite cage match? No, it's not. Mankind versus The Undertaker, Hell in a Cell.
Okay.
King of the Ring 97.
Not listing that one.
Well, yes, the favorite. Yeah, I'll never forget Kane would come down to the ring on one Monday Night Raw, didn't matter what the match was, and he'd just come down, beat the shit out of everybody.
Yep.
Paul Bearer like, Undertaker, this will keep happening until you come there. Then the next match would come on. Kane's music, man. Undertaker. Oh, it was great.
I actually have a few cage matches that come to mind, and I'm not just going to throw out Hell in a Cell matches. I don't know why this one sticks with me, but Mankind, The Rock, Ken Shamrock. It's a hidden gem. Mankind is climbing out, and he's just a foot away as The Rock walks out the door, and he jumps down and he thinks he'd won. It was a triple threat cage match. It's an oldie but a goodie. It's a hidden gem. Owen Hart, Bret Hart. No, obviously. Shawn Michaels, The Undertaker, the original Hell in a Cell. That
was a good one.
You can't just say Mankind Undertaker 98 was the best and not acknowledge that because of the Kane debut.
Now, I will say this is one Tony and I actually watched recently, and it was actually there were some points that were interesting, but I'll never forget. It always stood out to me. Roddy Piper versus Hulk Hogan. And I believe it was Halloween Havoc, or was yes, it was Halloween Havoc.
I believe.
And Macho Man Randy Savage climbs the top of the cage. Arms go up, flies off with an axe handle smash, and barely hit, like he almost missed, but Macho Man all the way up on top of the cage. You see him signaling to the crowd he's about to come off, and he does. And Roddy Piper, Hulk gets the sleeper hold. Hulk had to hit 2 leg drops and couldn't get the 3 count. It was actually, in terms of the greats of yesteryear, that was one that really over-delivered for a event that you wouldn't expect. There was some interesting, like there was one fan that I think crawled up the side of the cage, and because he had a Sting mask, they didn't know if he was part of the show, and he got taken out pretty quick.
A couple other ones I will mention. One from my TNA days. Mickie James versus Tara, who was Victorian WWE. They had a great main event cage match in TNA back in the day. And, of course, I can't not mention Triple H, Undertaker, with Shawn Michaels as the guest referee WrestleMania in Hell in a Cell. That was an art form. That's just it. It doesn't get much better than that. Another comment, little fettuccine. So what's going to happen with the Raw Women's Tag Division now? With Baszler and Jax as the champions, the Riot Squad will eventually beat them, we assume, because they'll want to fight each other. That's what I'm assuming. I think they'll get another month out of it, though, before they end up splitting up and fighting each other, and the Riot Squad win the tag titles. I don't think they have a lot of foresight.
Oh, I gotta throw this one in. This one was one of my, it was a really busy cage match, but I liked it. I know it was a little much, but I really liked it.
I got another one.
Hulk Hogan versus Ric Flair. Halloween Havoc.
No.
Mr. T as special guest referee. Everyone interferes. Jimmy Hart, Sensational Sherry.
Fuck.
Some dude in a mask comes out and interferes at one point. Hulk Hogan gets handcuffed to the rope, Tony, and he still hits the big boot, and the leg drop, gets the 1, 2, 3, and retains the title even though he was handcuffed to the rope. And if Hulk Hogan would have lost, he would have had to leave WCW forever. Oh my God, it would have been 1,000 years of darkness. All would have been lost. And Hulk Hogan with his leg drop saved us all. Yes, Tony, that was another one I really liked. All right,
you also like the Kennel from Hell and the Chamber of Horrors, because that's about or when Macho Man and Hulk Hogan beat like 20 other guys.
Or let's not forget the
triple cage match.
The Lions Den match. That was pretty good. Yeah. Which at first, when I was looking at Raw Underground, I was like, oh, so they're having a Lions Den match without cage sides. Yeah, so that was a. The Chamber of Horrors, actually one of our most successful videos. I don't know what it is.
Check that one out.
Yeah, we review some awful Halloween Havoc matches, and Tony still hasn't released a review of one of the most anticipated rematches of all time: Hulk Hogan versus the Ultimate Warrior 2.
We'll probably just have to redo that one. And
Tony was just so awestruck with how amazingly good it was.
So there you go. If you like to be scared and the scary season in October's coming up, we'll go ahead and we will watch once again, probably just as inebriated, the Hulk Hogan Ultimate Warrior rematch in WCW. But that's to come, and things are coming up. We have some things to look forward to. So with that being said, we're 55 minutes in. Let's call this thing. Let's gear up. And
may I, sir?
You may.
As I'm known to say around here, all that being said, this has been our review of Clash of Champions, folks. Thank you for being here. I am the devilishly handsome outlaw himself, your king of extreme, Phil KOE. I'm also, whenever I'm on the Dog and Chicken Show or the Tomfoolery Show, the prince and potentate of the political parlance. Also, just generally the prince of the polite, the master of modesty. God, I'm also the king of the evolved and just on my way to being the king of everything. As well as when you go check out Grip Paranormal, I'm also the king of the ethereal. Halloween night, check out KOE Nation for the upload of my journey there.
Twix, Kit Kat, Snickers.
Oh, nice. Tootsie Roll, Tootsie Roll, Tootsie Roll. Actually, Tootsie Roll, Reese's Pieces, or Reese's Cups, and then M&M's. Fuck you. Fight me. So
why don't you just throw in Raisinets?
Check out us over at the Dog and Chicken Show, where you see me, Tony, and Chicken just getting into all of the varying topics of the day. There you go, right there. Dog and Chicken Show on YouTube. Big Bucket Entertainment on Facebook. Check me out. KOE Nation on YouTube, where you can see my varying liquor reviews. I'm starting to delve into the world of politics. And also, I do a presidential toast series where I upload a video where we raise our glass to every president with their favorite spirit of libation on their birthday. Definitely check that out. Check me out, KOE Nation. And please, folks, right here at the Revolutionary Wrestling Podcast, like, share, subscribe. You know it's the right thing to do. You know you need to do it.
Come back and banter with us. Yes.
Drop an elbow on that subscribe button. And also, please, drop a Ric Flair flying knee on to that share button so you can spread the joy of KOE and Tony G to more of your friends and family. You know it's the right thing to do, folks. You know you need to. Thank you for joining us. Raise a glass to all of yourselves for being here. Thank you, folks. I cannot wait to see you at Hell in a Cell. We will keep you abreast of all the happenings in the world of wrestling. But fear not, folks. I have retained my championship this evening. We are going forward with a king of extreme reign here at RWP. And that is what sets the world right. So, folks, thank you for joining us, and I will catch you later, folks. I am signing off and handing it off to my indomitable broadcast partner, the one, the only,
Tony fucking G. Again, like, share, subscribe. Join us here next time for what we hope is not a completely disastrous Hell in a Cell or anything that happens in between. Thank you so much for joining us. Check with us again. Love you. Bye.